G'day, Hawks fans. Welcome to Talking Hawks. Welcome to the St Kilda preview. Comment below. Let us know where you are watching from. We are just Hawks fans trying to bring intelligent footy conversations, a few laughs in between, and hopefully some more wins at the Hawthorn Footy Club. Got so close yet so far last week, but enough about that. Let's move on to the Saints. Chris is here as well. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. It's a different set of feelings after the weekend, but like I said, can't be too disappointed. It was a gallant effort, so we move on.
Yeah, 2-1 with a point differential of 83. I think we would have taken that if someone had offered it at the start of the season. So make sure you're getting involved, Hawks fans. We've got a few things that we want to touch on with you, so make sure you're getting nice and active down there. Let's start just quickly with the Saints result as well. So they were 25 points down about 8 minutes into the third quarter. They managed to grind their way back throughout that third quarter before Max King, who in the last 2 weeks has decided to be invisible for the first 3 quarters, decided to rip the game by the throat. Had 7 shots on goal in that last quarter and deems as their obvious sort of player to watch. Chris, and I'm going to put this out there straight away, Denver needs to stand next to him. I know people are going to say Sam Frost. I understand why Frosty's been magnificent, but these two are going to be battling against each other for the next 12 years, and I just want to start the rivalry on Sunday. The weather's meant to be good. It would be amazing to see, especially given Denver would have his tail up after the way he played on Kerno in the second half of last week. What do you reckon?
Yes, so it's just a possibility. I think Denver's been playing above his weight, and he's probably giving up a few kilos and a few inches there. It's a bit bold comment. I'd almost go Frost personally, but I get what you're saying. It's a match made in heaven. So, but yeah, he's probably very dangerous. Besides maybe mental blank. Who's this? Membry. Yeah, when he's off the leash, he's a freak as well. So if we can contain those two, I think we're in good stead to have a win here.
The old 2-foot jumper, Tim Membry. It's great. I don't know if you've ever noticed it. He jumps off both feet. It's weird to what once you notice it, you never unnotice it. So Hawks fans, let us know. Should Denver go to Membry or should he go to Max King? It would seem unlikely that he would go to the resting ruckman, whether that's Paddy Ryder or Jack Hayes, provided both of them play. They ran with the 3 rucks last week, although Hayes didn't take a lot of contests. It does seem likely that they're going to roll with, weirdly, the 5 talls, if you can believe that. It looks like Sicily might end up running with their ruckman. Chris, again, on the Saints first, we'll get onto the Hawks in a tick. Does the change of venue provide a sense of optimism for you, given that Marvel, skinnier ground, able to get those quicker Saints players who dominated last week? Do you feel more comfortable with the wider MCG that we can grind away and potentially get over the line?
I think so, but in saying that, looking at their last 2 wins against Freo at Optus on a reasonable sized ground, that they've kicked away in the back end of the game to get that win, and also ran over the back of Richmond. So I don't know. It's hard because we've pretty much done the same thing against Carlton and come steaming home, even though we've come short. But I still think it suits our game plan better. And I think it probably suits us more than it would suit them.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. In that Freo game, boy, that was ugly to watch. The old Twilight hellhound that is 6:20 p.m. it seems like on Sunday games, but prime time Sunday. I'm feeling really confident about our ability to negate the Saints, but we'll touch more on them in a tick. Fans, hope you're getting involved down below. I know Chris will be keeping an eye on that with the matchup. So Hawks fans, again, get involved. What do you want to see? Now, obviously, a Hawks win is the obvious there. There we go. And Randy's they're agreeing with Big Dazzling, and that's what we like to see. But what's something that you want to see, but not obviously a Hawks win? We all want to see that. What's something a little bit obscure, a little bit weird? Denver on Max King was mine, Chris. I know I've put you on the spot. I'll get yours in a tick. But Hawks fans, let us know. Is it a player dominating? Is it a matchup? Is it a forward kicking a bag? Is it someone like CJ repeating his performance from last week? What's something that you personally are looking forward to seeing in this game? Comment below. Let us know. Chris, what's your little obscure observation that you're going to be looking at in this one?
Put me on the spot, although you did give me warning. I'm thinking it depends on our ins. I'm guessing with Scrimshaw being a test, who comes into the team. And I'm just wondering, because we've got the backs covered, whether we push maybe a forward in like a Ned Long or a Saunders, or I'm not sure. who knows what they might sort of. I'm hoping they just pull something left centre.
I hope so. I'd love to see a Ned Long debut. So Chad Wingard is expected to miss, and as much as we might have lamented Chad's early season form, if he is hurt, that might go some way to explaining it. Ned Long, 19 disposals and 11 tackles in VFL. Sorry, not on the VFL, in the VFL last week. So the rebuilding phase that we're in, seeing Ned Long in the team would be awesome. We are expected to get Max Lynch back, and considering we've got an All-Australian caliber style ruckman in Rowan Marshall. I'll take my Hawks hat off just for this sentence, but I'm a big fan. He is going to go places. He is kind of held back by Paddy Ryder, which is a weird thing to say considering Paddy is as good as he has been in his career. And also we've talked about Jack Hayes there. So Lynch will go a long way to nullifying that contest. But let's talk about the midfield, mate. We had a comment come up before. Last week we had the Bulls in Cripps, Hewitt, Walsh, you could argue, although he's more of a two-way running midfielder, but we had the Brutes, but now we've got to worry about the speed. Jack Sinclair and Jade Gresham, fully fit. Both had over 25 disposals last week. I think Gresham had 32. Are we worried about being able to negate the Saints getting a centre clearance and getting away from our midfielders?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I know you're a big fan of the Saints, Ruckman Marshall, but I don't think they've been dominant. And like you said, Paddy Ryder's probably well past his best. And I had a look. I think he played about 80 minutes of game time. So like that's for about 6 possessions or something like that. So he's really sucked up a lot of their game time and ruck contests. So I think we should be able to get on top. But then it comes down to us hitting to advantage, which is huge. It's not just getting a rough tap from Ned Reeves or Lynch. It's about getting it to advantage. So as long as our mids can be accountable, I think we should win the battle.
Yeah, well, that's the hope. The more even we've made the midfield battle, the better we've gone. I know you might be thinking, look at all the disposals that Port Adelaide had. You know, Bogue had 39, Amon 38, I think Butters 29. But they got no easy ball inside forward 50. And I think that's the key. If we do end up losing clearances, we're not a good clearance team at the moment. We just can't let them stroll inside 50. So I think the accountability really matters. So fans, let us know what you think. Let's go to the forward line, mate. Mitch Lewis started the year absolutely on fire. 3 against North, 5 against the Power. Came back to earth a little bit, it must be said. Did still end up kicking a snag, but only 4 marks from his 6 disposals. He's probably the one that a lot of Hawks fans are going, he can kick us a winning score. And if I can hopefully say this without disrespect, I think Dougal Howard's a really good matchup on him, considering Mitch has got the good jump and the big long levers. So I honestly reckon he could go large here. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess it's about, giving him some good ball inside 50. I think if they put it out in front of him, I think he'll be right. And also, if he's not the best option, you've got plenty of other options there with Gunston in good form, even though he's a bit quiet on the weekend. And then you got those crummers with Bruce. Bruce is almost in All-Australian form himself. He's had a good start of the season. So, but as far as you said, yeah, that could be a good matchup. And let's hope Lewis comes out on top as well and kicks 2 or 3 goals. I think that's enough output for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it is Howard or Josh Battle who's playing as that intercept defender type. They're trying to turn him into a James Sicily type, it seems. But whoever's on Jack has to be on him for the full 4 quarters. We talked about in the review how Jacob Wiedering wore him like a glove. And what a compliment that is to Jack. But Jack ended up getting on top, kicked a couple of goals, and did it really well. So I like what you said about... Oh, go on.
I think Josh Battle's a bit... I know he's just big and bulky, and I think he's just a little bit slow. I don't think he'd be a good matchup for Mitch Lewis. I think he'd run rings around him. So
all the better for us, mate.
Yes, I don't know who he's going to match up on us, really, unless we've got our resting ruckman down forward. But I'll rate him. I think he's a good player, Battle. But Josh Battle. But yeah, I'm struggling to find a good matchup for him.
Well, there we go. But also, I like what you said. We've got to be able to hurt them when we come back. I don't think any back 6 wants to look at Dylan Moore, who I said in the review should be in the rolling All-Australian team if there was such a thing. I don't know if Sunday Footy Show are doing it like they normally do, but Dylan Moore should be there. But also on the other side, with no Chad Wingard, it looks like our man Jai, if we don't bring in a forward for Chad, might be the way to go. And if I'm a back 6, if I'm a Ben Patton or maybe a Ben Long who they might bring in, I don't want to stand next to Jai at all. How important do you think Jai and Dylan Moore are going to be in order for us to get the 4 points?
Oh, they've proven pretty important so far this year, and let's just hope that consistency continues. And I think, yeah, like you said, pretty important to the nucleus of the team at the moment. So, like you said, they're pretty young players, but they're pretty vital for us. And yeah, as long as they keep turning up, I think we're going to keep getting wins on the board.
Yep, absolutely. So hopefully we can go to the fans, and while you do that, that 64-0 run that St Kilda went on, it was the first time any team had kicked 10 goals in a row at Marvel since Essendon did it to Gold Coast. I don't know if you remember in the first quarter, I think it was like 2012, Kyle Reimers ended up kicking 7. I don't know if they were all in the first quarter, but that was nuts. But Gold Coast weren't obviously a good team back then, and they're arguably not doing that much better now, but improvements in that squad for sure. But that was a fantastic performance by the Saints. For their rebound out of defence, are they going in too tall? By they, if you mean St Kilda, hopefully it would be like the North game. We commented on Sherry, Callum, Coleman-Jones and Goldstein playing that side alongside Larkey. So potentially the weather definitely does help. And Jack Hayes is probably the one that misses out if it rains. So does the rain favour us, do you think?
26 I'm looking at, if my app's correct. So I think I don't think we're looking at too much rain at this point in time. So
with the rebound game, it is all about that pressure, and I honestly don't have the pressure axe here in front of me, but on the couch highlighted a really good highlight of Tim Membry chasing down a couple of Richmond players. Didn't get that big tackle, Harry McKay on Josh Ward style last week, but their defensive pressure definitely did go to another level at Marvel. I don't think their defensive pressure inside their forward 50 was fantastic against the Dockers, and that's for one reason and one reason only. In the second half, every time I went forward, Jack Higgins or Max King will kick a goal. But we'll segue into that. Jack Higgins is out with concussion, so their most dangerous small forward is Dan Butler, a man who is wildly maligned by St Kilda fans since crossing from Richmond. Is it as simple as going, Blake Hardwick, he's your man, and we'll let Sicily and CJ and Scrimmer, if he does play, these guys can have their 10 rebound 50s each and launch from there? Do you think we clamp down on them?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at this one here. Impey, Lynch, in for Wingard and Howe. Yeah, Howe was, I don't know, Howe's just, I thought he was so good at back end of last year. And he gets a bit maligned himself. But Impey, where are we at with Impey? I think he's
played 2.5
minutes or maybe another week. Fox Hill.
Yeah, if he got through the game and he's all right, I mean, let's bring him. If Scrimshaw's fit, does he play that wingard half forward role? I've wanted him to play forward all year, so that would be awesome to see. It's going to be hard for Howe to drop out, considering he was the sub. So if Scrimshaw is fit, then it'll probably be just Lynch and another player in, or it might be Impey
down forward. Boom.
There you go. So it'll just be the only player confirmed out to be wingard. So when the team sheet comes out, it'll say out wingard Medisub, and it'll probably have Max Lynch and Jarman Impey in, and then it'll have Daniel Howe out Medisub. So he'll go back to being an emergency, just for clarification's sake there. Impey forward, he doesn't have to do as much gut running. So if there is a position maybe where you can not hide, but maybe not have as much energy. Dylan Moore just covered the ground magnificently last week. He had an exact 50-50 split forward and defense when it came to his possession. So he's got the tank. We know Jai's got the tank. So if Jarman can just be a forward pressure player this week, I think get him in as soon as you can. Because if he is, knock on wood, he doesn't. But if he does get hurt again, it's almost the quicker the better, because it's a lot easier to come away from it and react to it than have it happen later on down the road.
Here we go, mate. We're tagging Steele this week, or we just going to go head-to-head and try and win the battle?
I think if Jaeger goes to him, they might just turn invisible, because it'll be the best-looking players in a midfield contest I've ever seen. It's genuinely not okay how good-looking those two boys are. I don't think Sam's a real tagging type. We might do a cooler kind of role now. We've said Nash onto Wines or Cripps. We've called for that bigger body, and Jaeger's body size would fit, sort of trying to cool Jack Steele as much as we can. But Jack Steele's that type of midfielder. He'll also tackle. He'll cover the ground really well. He'll go for that, cheap handball at the back, which for us Supercoach players is awesome. But I don't think we can keep him out of the game like a Matt DeBoer, Lockie Ash did on Touk Miller. It'll be about making sure his disposals aren't in dangerous areas of the ground. And I think Jaeger can do that job. What do you reckon?
Yes. No, it sounds like a good role for him to play. And, if we can nullify one of their best mids, I think that's going to work well for us. But talking about Nashy, Mr. Fix-It, where's Nash going to play this week, and what do you think his role might be? Because he's just sort of does whatever we need to do at the moment.
Yeah, I'd like to see him at the contest because he is so quick for his size off the mark. If a Jack Sinclair is kind of out the back of the stoppage and we need to put a bit of pressure on that kick, then Nash is going to be the quickest one to get to him. So I'd really like to see him at a lot of centre bounces this week. And also, if, you leave a guy, I think, what is he, 195 centimetres tall, if you leave him unaccounted for from a St Kilda point of view, and he can get his hands on the ball first, that's a handball to Mitchell, handball to O'Meara, and then wear out. So I think the more time he spends in the centre square, the better. And then he can obviously rotate off the bench and potentially even start on a wing and get back into defence really well. That's what I think anyway. And Hawks fans would love to know what you think as well. Where do you think Nash fits into this week, man?
I've really loved his decision-making of recent times, and even showed a bit of candy on the weekend, which I love.
He did, yeah. Zach Williams, he did it too, made him look silly. Old 700 grand a year, Zach. So, well done, Connor.
Confidence is at an all-time high. So, loving what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, he absolutely is. So, the injury list right now, we've got Ben McAvoy, who's out to be confirmed. I'm not a doctor at the best of times, so I don't know how long he's going to be out with the fractured neck. I'll get to that comment in just a sec. Brett, we've also got Wingard, who's obviously out. Scrimshaw, who is a test, and Lockie Bramble, who they're saying worst case scenario is a month away. So a month from now, I think we play Gold Coast. I think, off the top of my head, don't have it. If someone wants to tell me I'm wrong, absolutely put it down below. So that is a really good injury list to have round 3 into the season. You look at an Essendon, which, who've got quite a few injuries at the moment. Not that we wish that upon players, just the footy club itself. So just make that distinction. So surely Phillips in for Finn. Now,
Phillips had a good game in the Magoos, didn't he? I think
27 touches, 8 tackles, I think, and played really well. But can Phillips play the defensive? So Finn now, the last 2 weeks, is number 1 at the Hawks for distance covered. And before people comment going, you've actually got to find and use the footy as well. Believe me, I understand that. And I've got, my gripes with Finn's decision-making with the ball in hand, of course. But if we're looking structurally and positionally on the ground, if Finn does come out, we either need to replace him with Impey that can play back, or we need to replace him with a like for like. I don't think Phillips is that player unless we send Phillips to a wing and we put Will Day back to replace Finn that way. That might work. Will was really good on the weekend. My instincts, and I think we actually talked about this last week, I think we're going to persist with Finn until either he maybe figures out that he's comfortable at the league, or it blows up and we go, you're probably rest of the year VFL unless you're absolutely turning it on. I don't think the patience has run out yet for the Hawks. What do you think about Finn spotting aside? And is your patience either wearing thin? Are you happy to persist? Where do you sit?
I honestly keep changing my mind. I see little glimpses of hope, and I'm like, oh, that was good. And then 2 seconds later, he's, like you said, that decision making, or it's just a little bit slow, or it's just like, oh. So I don't know. It's a tough one to make a decision on early at this point in time. And I wouldn't argue with anyone if they said either.
Yeah, his brain works quicker than his hands. And all that means is that he's not fully trusting his footy instincts. So it's not, this isn't doing stuff on purpose or deliberately, kicking a ball out on the full or any of that. So is it time that'll fix that, or is that a chronic problem? I think that's for the Hawks to figure out. Is 3 games enough time to give him? I'm actually talking myself into keeping him in the side now. That's how powerful these kind of conversations are. But I'm with you. I wouldn't begrudge it either way. I don't think he was so bad on the weekend. It was like a why we lost kind of situation or anything like that. So if we do persist with him, good luck to him. And I hope the Hawks have got a plan in place to go, right, this is the cutoff mark. Where are you at? Is it Geelong? Is it Easter Monday? Is it Anzac Day against the Swans? That's a pretty decent fortnight we're coming up against. So that'll be a really interesting one to watch. Fans, keep getting involved. What do you want to see? Positive point of view, do we think Lewis or Gunston's going to kick a bag? Who's going to be a leading goal kicker? All of that. Finn will break out next year, just like Nash did this year. Sam, I hope you're right. And if If that turns out to be true, is it all 22 games this year and then we wait for him to pop? Is that the way it works? Who knows? With an average of, I think Hawthorn have averaged just over 7 list changes at the end of the year. I have no idea of Finn's contract situation, but there are going to be some unlucky players to miss out, as we know. So we'll keep an eye on that. So St Kilda at the moment, like we said, from their team last week, Jack Higgins is concussed, so they obviously need to make one change. It looks like Ben Long is going to come in, although Mitch Owens and Marcus Windhager were good in the VFL. What is Finn's run delivering to the team? So defensively, Sorry?
Did you notice that was Matt?
Yeah, absolutely did. I was going to get to that at the end, but what it does is, so I hate to be that nerdy numbers guy, so work with me, but when Champion Data do a lot of these stats, they do stats with the footy and without the footy. And the reason why our defense is holding up is, I don't know what metrics they are 100%, but we are the third best team in the competition without the ball, which means we are setting up really well. And like it or hate it, he's a part of the reason why we set up so well. So unless there's someone that's going to do that aspect of the ball with better decision-making, I think he's got to stay in the side. And whether that is this week, next week, or 2 weeks, but it's good to see you checking in with us, Matty, and hope you're well.
I think the comment was that his gut running is what's stopping their quickest and best mids getting the ball on the attack. So, and if he's doing that and playing that role, and that's what Sammy's happy with, then, like you said, if that's giving us that third best in the comp, no, it's not only him, it's the full team that have to work together. But as you know, watching the game at the ground versus on TV, like we structured so well against Carlton in that second half, and it was just so frustrating that we couldn't get over the line because, every time they got the ball, they had nothing to go to, and it was purely because of the way we set up to defend. Yeah. So.
Absolutely, and what's kind of mind-boggling in this sort of scenario is the talk and talking like media point of view is that we were lauded over coming back from 41 points down and falling short, and that's fine. And everyone's lauding the fact that St Kilda got over the line. But if you think Richmond's done in the sense of the dynasty's over, they've got to start again. If Richmond are that bad, they still had a 25-point lead over this mob. So this isn't like they've caught fire and for 4 quarters they're going to kill us. All we need is, so Max King was invisible. Dylan Grimes does his hammy, and we now know that that's a 4 to 8 weeks, so it's a month or 2 hammy. Before then, Max King hadn't impacted the game, and St Kilda was struggling to score. So all we're effectively asking the Hawks to do is play better for longer than a failing Richmond side are, and keep the defensive structure up for 4 quarters. Best thing to do. We're the number 1 defense in the competition right now. So I honestly don't know why we're kind of going under the radar here. I'm not saying this to promote gambling or anything, but the Saints are favourites in this game, and I find that kind of mind-boggling considering how bad they were against the Pies, and for 2.5 quarters last week and for 3 quarters against Freo, they've probably only won 3.5 quarters for the year, which is just strange to me.
Maybe they don't rate Port Adelaide, but yeah, obviously good win against Port, and Carlton's almost top 4 at the moment, so we went all the way with them. So like you said, it seems a bit odd that they're favourites, but it is what it is.
Yeah, good luck to them. That's it. So Hawks fans, keep getting involved. What do you want to see over the course of the Sunday? So after this St Kilda game, we go into the week after. I'm trying to think of dates in my head. Is that Anzac Day, or I've gone a week too early? Easter Monday. Yeah, Easter Monday. So then we've got Geelong, and then we've got Sydney. So a win here would take us to 3-1, and then we would start obviously pretty far behind Geelong and Sydney, although if there are 2 teams that can go either way and we tend to beat when we're not doing as well as them, it's Sydney and Geelong. So good things coming. And then after that, I think we've got Melbourne and Gold Coast. So a tough next month for the Hawks. Who are you keeping an eye out for this weekend, mate? Who do you think is going to – they don't have to be our best on ground, but who do you think is going to play out of their skin this week?
I think he's due, and we had big raps on him for this season, especially his pre-season body. So Warple, I think he's just ready to go. So let's hope that he comes to play and just rips the game apart.
Speaking of blokes that can stand next to Jack Steele and create a contest, so Warple, I agree with you. It's almost like he's that greyhound in the box that when all the flaps go up, his stays closed and he's just ready to go. I mean, this is a guy that won a best and fairest at 21. Talent doesn't evaporate just like that. So fingers crossed he goes well. He won't be in my full preview, which will be coming on talkinghawks.com tomorrow afternoon. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't subscribed to Talking Hawks on YouTube, please do so. Get your mates involved as well. Growing bigger and better all the time. Would like to see a fast start. Absolutely. Would love to win another first quarter. I think we've won one for the year. So we definitely didn't win it to Carlton. I think North were ahead of us at quarter time in round one, but we had that fast start against the Power, and look how well that went. So a fast start would be pretty handy. What do you think's causing that slow start, do you think, Chris? Is it just taking time to get into the game and settle, or do you think it really is a midfield battle that we're losing from the start?
Oh, that's what I would say. Yeah, I'd say we're losing that midfield battle off the bat, and it's just put us on the back foot. And then, like you said, that then puts pressure on the backs who are out of position. So, yeah, it'd be nice to be a bit more prepared at the start of the game to, yeah, it's just disappointing. It gives you so much, such a good head start in the game if you can get the first couple of goals on the board and you got the momentum.
And definitely can't come back from 34 points down at the start. No, you can't do that every week, and especially with the month we've got ahead with three of probably the top four teams in the league. If you put Brisbane in that group, and you could probably put Carlton, so three of the top five.
Right.
So,
questions coming up too quick. That's the one I wanted.
When is Shields likely to get another game? It's a good question.
Very good.
It is right now. Is he best 23 for you?
He's not far off. I know people say he's sort of getting older and he's probably past his best, but he's played some quality footy and even his preseason form was outstanding. So I don't think so, but I don't know. I think Sam's just trying to get games into the kids and maybe preserving his body. I don't know. Did Shields play Box Hill?
I think he is going to this week as well. So he's had a child recently that I can't remember.
That's why.
Boy or girl. So congratulations to the Shields family. Hopefully a second generation Shields as a Hawk. That would be fantastic, whether it's AFLW or the AFL men's, of course. So my instincts say not until these young guys get tired. Is it going to be too much to expect Ward and McDonald after playing no footy for 2 years to play 22 games? Unlikely. Got to change the midfield mix. I'm sick of seeing the ball walked out of the centre. Fred, we could not agree with you more, my friend. And the machinations, the combinations of midfielders, I think we've had a really, really good mix that's just, it's not getting it done. We're as flummoxed as you are sometimes. But the good thing about the Saints is it might be as easy as stop their runners. We've got Connor Nash who can do that, and Josh Ward's got a tank that's outstanding. So looking forward to watching the Box Hill game beforehand too. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Justin. So we've got Sandringham this week. I think we confirmed before at the MCG. So a prelude to the Saints game, which would be fantastic. 12 o'clock start. So get down there as well. I think they're allowing members in automatically. Of course, if you've got your ticket to the Hawks game already, you can head along as well. Let's make some noise for the Box Hill guys. They were a bit disappointing over the weekend, conceding 9 goals to 1 in the final quarter and let Carlton's VFL side run over the top of us. The last two players that I kind of want to talk about, Chris, and then we might get out of here. Josh Ward and Connor McDonald. I think it's going under the radar because you've got your Dacos, you've got your Josh Rochelle, of course, Victorian boys as well. But I think it's going under the radar how incredible it is that these Victorian kids have gone from, I think, 7 NAB League games in 2 years to walking into these football clubs and going, I'm in the best 23. All the coaches are giving them a chance, of course. And not only that, they're playing magnificently. Now, Rochelle has been awesome, was unlucky not to get the Rising Star in round 1 because Nick Martin decided to be the best thing since sliced bread in round 1, and Dacos is the Rising Star winner. So although Ward and McDonald haven't had those highlight-worthy games, Josh Ward's had 2 consecutive 20 disposal games. Connor McDonald's had 2 consecutive goal games, and he's covering the ground magnificently. I think they deserve all the credit in the world for the way that they not only got their spot, but kept it.
Yeah, it's just they just look very composed, and like you said, they just seamlessly fit in at AFL level. So, such good news for us that we've managed to take the cream of the crop really in the draft.
Yeah, very absolutely. And with Ned Long, who was our rookie draft selection, getting 19 touches and 11 tackles. How good. Let's get to the tips. Hawks fans, how confident are we that we're going to get over the line? We want a margin. And give us who is going to top our goal kicking this week as well. We need to know who of the forwards is going to star. Is Mitch Lewis going to kick a bucket? Is Jack Gunston going to continue his consistent form? Is my man, the All-Australian half-forward flanker at this stage, Dylan Moore, is he going to hit the scoreboard? Kick 2-2. Could easily have kicked 5. Big deals are. So get them in there. We'll get those up on the screen as well.
Another quick question.
What's happening with Jekka? It's a good question. Yep. Not a lot.
He's not coming with the goods.
It looks like the next tall down in reserves is Jackson Callow, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Cozzy's had to play ruck because we don't have a ruckman down at Box Hill at the moment. Of course, with McAvoy and Lynch out McAvoy and Lynch out last week. Yeah. It was pretty difficult to get a ruck, so he had to play that role. And Jekka's just his form's not warranting senior selection at this point, and I think he's out of contract at the end of the year. So he's does the question need to be asked? Does he have 20 weeks to keep that spot? And if that's the case, I'm sure he'll come out and get in some really good form soon. No player's perfect or has that perfect run. But do you think he gets a spot in the senior side at some point this year now?
I think so. I think it might be just a bit of a last gasp effort to see if he's got the goods. But it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe just gave him a 1-year extension just to see if he matures that little bit more. I think he's got the ability. I just want to see him bring it. So, and I think he won the Box Hill Best and Fairest, and he didn't even play a full season with them. So he's definitely got ability and talent. So he just needs to. I don't know. Is it a mental thing?
We wish we knew. With this, it's one of those that we don't have the answer for. But I hope we see him just to find out. Sometimes you got to find out. It's as simple as that. So let's get some tips in there as well. And Chris will get your Hawks by 28. Love that. What a well-rounded performance that would be. Dom, Hawks by 21. CJ long bomb goal for 55 out. Yes, please. In the premiership quarter, that is outstanding. Gunston with 4. Ben, love it. So, Chris, how confident are you of us winning? There you go. We've even got a score. That would be outstanding.
I'd like to see us against St Kilda score 100. When we score 100, we typically win, which I'm hoping we do on the weekend. In saying that, I reckon a good 4 goals, 24 points.
Yep, I like it. I think this game comes down to, and St Kilda are one of the worst set shot teams in the competition. Hawthorn by 7 points and more to kick 4 goals. My man, All-Australian half-forward flanker, you beauty. BOG Warps 25 plus and 2 goals. Yes, please, Chock Star. Fantastic. I'm going the Hawks as well. I can't believe the love that St Kilda's getting for only playing 2 full quarters in the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to go the Hawks by, I'll say 16 points, and I reckon Gunners kicks 5 and reminds the competition why he's as good as he is. Chris, I reckon we just about wrap it up, mate. What do we think?
Yeah, I'll just have to flash this one up. I don't know if someone's taken the P1SS or not, but try to have 19.
That would be awesome. I think that would be the record. I think the record's 18 by Jude Bolton. Let's go with that. Hawks by 12. More with 4. Rhymes galore. Absolutely. I like it. So that's just about it, guys. If we can stop the St Kilda run with their pace, Hawks by 21, you beauty. And if our forwards can fire and the entries inside forward 50, we should get it done. A lot of faith in our defense, which is fantastic. Ranked number 1 in the competition. 4th on the ladder, 144 percentage. The Hawks are playing good footy. Chris, it's been a pleasure to have you here, mate. And just before we go, this wouldn't be possible without a base compression. Basecompression.com/talkinghawks for 20% off. Sportswear, activewear, athletic wear. There's the photo up there. Chris, how good was that, Chris? No warning there at all. We've done that quickly. Yep. Magnificently. They've been fantastic. We hope we can keep them around and check them out as well. Chris, it's been a pleasure to have you here, mate. I hope we come back next week to preview the next game after having a win. It was pretty disappointing not to get over the line. So fingers crossed we get there. And Hawks fans, we'll see you with the review. Matt will be here. Hopefully I will be here as well. I'm pretty sure I'll be here. My written preview will be coming tomorrow as well, where I take a deeper dive mostly into the Saints and some other things that we don't have quite the time to go over here. So talkinghawks.com, join the mailing list as well. Other than that, we're going to get out of here. I feel like this conclusion's taken a bit long, so I'll stop rambling. We'll see you soon, guys. Go the Hawks.
Catch you guys.